Have you ever dreamed of speaking English so easily that you don't have to stop and translate in your mind first? What methods have you already tried in your own journey to learn English? My name is Jason, and today I want to share with you the very first steps that make learning English much easier than it first seems. Because I believe that if we build a strong foundation from the beginning, every other step will feel more natural. And I remember when I first started, I felt lost with so many books and so many rules. But soon I discovered that the best way to begin is not to focus on grammar immediately, but instead to surround yourself with English in your daily life. For example, listening to simple songs, watching short videos, or even changing the language on your phone into English. Because when you see and hear English all around you, little by little, your brain starts to accept it as something normal and not something strange or difficult. And I still remember how strange it felt to see my phone settings in English for the first time. But after a few days, I started to recognize words like settings, camera, or messages without even translating them. And that gave me confidence, because confidence is the real secret to moving forward. And one of the biggest tips I can give you right now is to stop worrying about mistakes, because mistakes are not signs of failure, they are signs that you are learning. And if you think about it, every child in the world learns a language by making mistakes again and again until the words finally sound right. And you can do the same with English if you give yourself patience and practice. So the first step in this journey is to welcome English into your everyday world. Make it part of your environment and let yourself enjoy it like a friend instead of fearing it like a school subject. After surrounding myself with English in my daily life, the next step I learned was to practice speaking. Because reading and listening are important, but speaking gives you real power. And I remember how nervous I was the first time I tried to speak English out loud, even when I was alone. But then I realized that speaking to myself was a great way to practice without pressure. So I started describing everything I was doing in English. For example, if I was cooking, I would say, "I am cutting vegetables." Or if I was walking, I would say, "I am going to the shop." And slowly, this small habit made me comfortable forming sentences without needing to stop and think too much. And I discovered another useful tip, which is to record your own voice while speaking. Because when you listen to yourself, you can notice your mistakes, your pronunciation, and also your progress. And that gives you motivation to continue. And later, when I felt a little more confident, I joined small online groups where people practiced English together. And at first I was very shy, but then I understood that everyone in the group was also learning, so there was no need to be afraid. And this is the moment I realized something important, that practicing English with people, even for just a few minutes, helps you to remember words longer and makes your brain faster in conversations. So the second step in this journey is not just to listen and read, but also to speak boldly. Our fear will turn into confidence. I became more confident with speaking. I discovered that learning English does not always have to be serious or boring, because in truth, one of the easiest ways to learn is by having fun. And I remember when I first started watching English movies with subtitles, I felt like I was just enjoying a story. But at the same time, my brain was quietly learning new words and expressions. And soon, I noticed that the phrases I heard in movies came to my mind when I was speaking. And that made me feel proud, because I was learning without even realizing it. And later, I tried listening to English songs, and I would sing along, even if my pronunciation was not perfect. And slowly, the rhythm of the language became more natural to me. And another fun way I discovered was playing simple mobile games in English, because games often have short instructions like start, or win, or next level. And by seeing those words again and again, I memorized them easily. And this showed me that language can be learned through joy and not just through study. And I also started reading short stories and comics in English, because they were not too difficult, but still exciting. And each time I finished one, I felt a small success. and success always gave me energy to keep going. So the third step in this journey is to make English part of the things you already enjoy, whether it is movies, music, games, or stories. Because when you learn with fun, your mind relaxes, your memory grows stronger, and English begins to feel like a natural part of your life instead of just a subject you must study. After enjoying English through fun activities, I realized that the next big challenge was remembering words. Because many times I would learn a new word in the morning, and by evening it would already disappear from my memory, and this made me feel frustrated. But then I discovered that the secret is not just learning words, it is using them again and again until they become part of your natural speech. So I started writing new words in a small notebook, and instead of only looking at them, I tried to make short sentences with each word. For example, if I learned the word bright, I would write, "The sun is bright today." Or if I learned the word quick, I would say, "My friend is very quick at running." And this simple habit helped me keep words alive in my memory. And another useful trick I used was to group words by theme. For example, food words together, travel words together, or emotion words together. Because when words are connected, the brain remembers them more easily. And I also learned to review old words often, not just once, because repetition is like water for a plant. It keeps the word alive and growing inside your mind. And sometimes I even played a small game with myself by trying to use a new word 3 times in one day, maybe in writing, in speaking, and even in my thoughts. And this made me feel like the word was truly mine. And slowly I realized that remembering vocabulary is not about how many words you study at once, but how many words you actually use and connect with your life. So the fourth step in this journey is to build your own system for remembering words, with notes, sentences, repetition, and fun challenges. Because the more you practice in small but real ways, the stronger your vocabulary becomes and the more confident you feel when speaking English.
After building confidence, practicing speaking, enjoying English with fun, and finding ways to remember new words, I discovered that the most important part of this journey is not speed, but consistency. Because learning a language is like growing a tree. You cannot see the growth every single day. But if you keep giving it water and sunlight, one day it becomes strong and full of life. And I remember many times when I felt tired or thought, maybe English is too difficult for me. But then I told myself that even if I learn just one new word today, it is still progress. And that thought kept me moving forward. And I created a small routine that made English a natural part of my day. For example, listening to a podcast while walking, reading a short article before sleeping, or practicing speaking with myself while cooking. And soon I realized that small daily habits are more powerful than studying for hours only once a week. And another thing that gave me strength was celebrating my progress. Because when I could finally understand a whole movie without subtitles, or when I could write a message to a foreign friend without checking the dictionary, I felt proud. And that pride gave me the energy to continue. And I want you to remember this final tip. That learning English is not a race where you must be the fastest. It is a journey where every step counts. And no matter how small your progress seems today, it is still building the future you dream of. So, the fifth and final step in this journey is to stay motivated, to keep going even on slow days, and to remind yourself that every word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every effort you make is bringing you closer to fluency. And if I could do it, then you can also do it. Because the real key is not talent, but patience, practice, and never giving up. Thank you for joining me. I am Jisan, and together we explored 5 simple but powerful steps to make learning English easier. Surrounding yourself with English, speaking with confidence, learning through fun, remembering words with practice, and staying motivated with small daily habits. Remember, progress may feel slow, but every step you take brings you closer to fluency. Keep practicing, keep enjoying the journey, and never give up, because English is not just a subject, it's a bridge to new opportunities and new friends around the world. Thank you for joining today on English Exchange Podcast. And until the next time, bye for now.